will be an impressive defense led by Charles Haley. Only 1 sack, but 23 quarterback pressure, so he's doing a job, and others are getting the credit.
They'll shift a lot in the defensive line. Charles Haley has had a big impact.
Linebacking core, not a lot of big names, but effective.
And very fast and very smart. Robert Jones, the young middle linebacker, is going to be a real great player at some point.
And the secondary, Brown and Holt, the corners. Ray Horton and Thomas Everett, the safeties. 2nd and 10. Marinovich back to pass again. Drills it complete for the first down to Tim Brown, who's driven out of bounds by Isaac Holt. And, John, you were talking before about the accuracy in the short game of Todd Marinovich.
Get a look here at Tim Brown. Look at the cushion that Isaac Holt gives him. He thinks he's going deep. Tim Brown just turns out Todd Marinovich, who, as you say, James, is an accurate passer, puts the ball on the money with timing passes. Todd Marinovich is a timing passer. The Raiders are going more to that kind of pass.
15th catch of the season for Tim Brown. 1st and 10 Raiders from the 29. On the ground, Dickerson. And Dickerson on the draw, getting all the way up to the 35. A gain of 6 by Eric Dickerson, finally tackled by Robert Jones. Washington, not a touchdown in that game. 5 field goals by Chip Lowmiller, and they squeak one past the Minnesota Vikings. So take a look at Eric Dickerson. And, John, you got a chance to chat with him. And quite honestly, I guess there was a bit of a strained relationship in the past few years, but you guys did talk.
Yeah, it was great to talk to him. He's excited about this year. He hasn't gotten going yet this year. He's only played about half of each game. He's anxious to get a game where he can get 20, 25 carries.
2nd and 4 on the ground. This is Steve Smith, and Smith has the first down.
Well, we talked about the Raider offensive line needed to improve and come off with a vengeance today, and boy, they sure are. They knocked the Dallas defensive front back about 4 yards that time.
And again, going back to a note we made at the top, running game by committee here in Los Angeles. A lot of those guys would love to be the featured back, but they're getting the job done.
Well, they've both been the featured back and both been all-pro players. Now they have to share the job, and, you know, they're both getting up there in age, so maybe it's not a bad thing.
Out of the pro set, 1st and 10, ball at the 40. Marinovich to pass on first down, going up top. Intended receiver was Tim Brown. Tim Brown a little frustrated, thinking that Isaac Holt was pushing him. Isaac Holt really has, I guess, realized a turnaround from last year. He was really being burned quite a bit, but he's got a lot more confidence this season.
Well, he's playing very well. You know, he's kind of a guesser. A lot of old corners lose a step, but they try to guess. Here we're going to see a double move. It's man coverage. Tim Brown goes by him. Isaac wasn't guessing that time. Or if he was guessing right, because he shut him out. Notice how he kind of pushed him into the boundary as they went up the field. That's the way to play that position.
Right, Holt, 8th-year player out of Alcorn State. 2nd and 10 for the Raiders from the 40. The pitch back to Dickerson. And Dickerson has the first down across midfield. A 13-yard run by Eric Dickerson.
Here we're getting a look at the Raiders running weak side. They've tried to come out in this ball game and come to the weak side. We're going to see Dickerson come out here, watch the stretch in the blind blocking, and have him turn it up the field. There you see the pitch to him. Now watch, they stretch 51 out. Watch him turn right up the field and attack him, cut back, lower his head, get the extra yard and the first down.
Opening drive of the contest. Raiders in Cowboy territory. Incomplete intended receiver was Willie Gull.
That was the deep out pattern. They're throwing on first down a lot. Willie Gull was single covered, but he was covered. Larry Brown did a nice job against him, and I think Todd Marinovich kind of threw that ball away.
Marinovich at the helm in succession. Some great quarterbacks of yesteryear for the Raiders. Ken Stabler, one of those guys, and Todd Marinovich had to be pretty honest with us. Said, fellas, I didn't know who he was. Had to watch the highlights to be impressed.
Kenny Stabler's going to love that one. Huh? It's the same number, though. They just ripped the Stabler off and put the Marinovich on, and he'll do it well.
6 defensive backs in for the Cowboys on 2nd and 10 for the Raiders. Ball at the 48 of Dallas. Complete to Ethan Horton for a first down and a lot more.
Well, this was a big part of the Raider plan to try to match Ethan Horton up. He is the offensive left tight end, as you see on your screen here. He is going to come down and work across the field and get away from Ken Norton, the linebacker. It's man coverage, and Norton doesn't handle him at all. Watch Norton try to cover him. He's inside of him with a little shove, and boy, that's what you call wide open there. Norton lost him completely. The Raiders are off to a very dynamic offensive series inside the 20 now.
A big tight end who's got 17 catches on the season. 1st and 10. Ball at the 22. Dickerson looking for room. And Dickerson running inspired for the Raiders. A 5-yard gain by Eric Dickerson, who certainly looks a little like the Dickerson of old.
Sure does.
Tight ends, boy, that's been a real tradition here in L.A.
And that's part of the Raider philosophy. They have worked hard over the years to develop tight ends. Al Davis is a prime mover in that, and they have had some of the greats in the game.
And, of course, as you take a look at Billy Cannon, no Pro Bowl numbers there. That before the AFL-NFL merger.
Dave Casper was my favorite. He was big, and he could block, and he could catch.
Ball at the 17 of Dallas. 2nd and 5. Dickerson and Smith, the backs, out of the pro set. Marinovich incomplete. Willie Gault was in the vicinity. Inside the red zone has not been a very positive area for the Raiders.
Well, and this is a key down, 3rd down and about 5. They've had a lot of struggles there, but a lot of the stats come in the first 4 games. This is a different group of guys that are playing after those first 4 games of the year where they did not very many things well. Art Shell knows this is important to get off to a good start in this game. And here's the key down for that.
In his 4th year as head coach of the Raiders. 3rd and 5. Need to get to the 12. Marinovich, a flag on the play. Marinovich incomplete off the chest of Ethan Horton, but there is a flag. Either holding or maybe even pass interference.
Well, that came from the side. That could very well be.
They've got 3 flags out on the field. 2 in the end zone.
1 in the end zone. So we've got all kinds of things. We're just going to have to wait and let them sort it out.
Jerry Austin, the referee for today.
We have 2 fouls on the defense. Illegal use of hands to the face. That penalty is declined. Defensive pass interference, number 20. 1st and goal on the 1.
Well, Jerry Austin sorted that one out nicely. 1st and goal at the 1 for the Raiders. So it's been a very impressive opening drive for the L.A. Raiders, who now have it at the 1 of Dallas.
Well, they've gotten the ball to Ethan Horton, which they wanted to do, and they've got Dickerson outside. Ethan Horton, we're going to see way up here at the top of the screen. It's the big man against the little man. Watch him kind of knock him around. Gets away. That's position. James, that's something you're used to being from basketball. You get that position on him, and the ball got in there, and it was pass interference on the defense.
Little spin move in there. Heavy package for the Raiders. 3 tight ends. Marcus Allen the back. Marcus Allen the ball carrier. And touchdown for the Raiders. Marcus Allen. Rushing touchdown on the season for Marcus Allen, and make it 97 on the career. Has not seen that much time, but when he's there, he's still quite effective. Jeff Jager on for the point after. Mishandled the hole there on the snap. So the Raiders still try to come up with it. Is it caught? No, it is not. Not the way that Art Shell drew it up.
And we've got some penalty flags. I think it's probably ineligible receivers downfield.
I would say there are a few of those downfield.
About 12.
The penalty is declined. The extra point is no good.
Jeff Gossett, if you take a look at him, he was the holder, tried to hurl the pass.
Here's a look at the touchdown. Look at the offensive line. Watch them come off. Marcus Allen really isn't touched till he gets into the end zone.
Culminating an 11-play drive that covered 83 yards. Back to live action. action as Dager kicks it off to Dallas. And Kelvin Martin will take it 5 yards deep. Kneel down, touchback. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 20 for the Cowboys. As the Raiders take almost 5 minutes off of the clock on its opening drive to score, but do not come away with the point after.
Here's the most exciting extra point drive I've seen for a while. The ball breaks right through his hands. Now they're trying to say, hey, I don't want it, you take it. Yeager's saying, man, I don't want this thing. Somebody else take it. Almost made a play, almost had a heck of a catch and wins it.
Now, what do you expect from Dallas on its opening drive?
I think they want to get to Harper as quickly as they can.
1st and 10 from the 20. Aikman back to pass. And he's looking. Complete for Johnston. And Johnston takes it up. A 5-yard gain up to the 25. It'll be 2nd and 5 for the Cowboys. Troy Aikman, 4th year out of UCLA, back in familiar haunts here in Los Angeles at the helm. Mark Tuinei back after missing last week with a lower back problem.
The Dallas Cowboys believe Eric Williams, number 79, the right tackle, is going to be one of the greats. He's just had vast improvement over the last season.
Smith and Irvin, the big names, but you expect a big game from Alvin Harper.
I think they need him to catch the ball and to balance up so that Irvin isn't double covered all the time.
2nd and 5. Novacek out. Alfredo Roberts, the tight end, in. Aikman to Smith. And Smith only back to the line of scrimmage. Winston Moss read it well and tackled him. John, you're expecting a big day defensively from the Raiders. Howie Long, the man under the spotlight here today for the Raiders.
Well, he needs to push in the middle. He's going to wind up playing what amounts to nose man, and he's got to get a push up the field. Nolan Harrison and Howie Long, boy, they just have to do a good job in there for the Raiders.
You like Ricky Ellison?
Well, he's a great run defender. He's not so good on the pass. They get him out on passing downs.
And it's an experienced secondary for the Raiders. 3rd and 5 for the Cowboys. Nickel package in for the Raiders. And it's complete for the 1st down to Kelvin Martin.
Well, we talked to Ronnie Lott before the game, and he talked how crucial 3rd down was going to be for the Raiders. He just felt like they had to get him off the field and not let him establish a rhythm. Here we're going to see the tight end, Novacek, come down, fake to the inside, crossover. Then they throw the ball wide to Kelvin Martin, and he's open for the 1st down.
Ball marked at the 40. 1st and 10 on the ground. And Smith. Awfully impressive run by Emmitt Smith. A 7-yard gain by Smith, and boy, what a nice job done by the left side of that offensive line as well.
Yeah, they knocked the Raiders off the ball. Both offensive lines, I think, are very excited and aroused about this game. I think they both realize that they are the key elements in this game, and they got off the ball well. That was a harder run than we normally see from Emmitt Smith. He wasn't looking for lanes. He was boring it up there hard and physical.
2nd and 3. Ball at the 48. Johnston in motion. Smith. 1st down for Emmitt Smith. Well, let's see where they mark it. It looked like the forward progress, but it looks like now maybe only a gain of 2. But he gets a good spot. Ricky Ellison for the tackle. Ronnie Lott was complaining as well, said we thought we stopped him short.
He agreed with me. I thought it was short too.
As we take a look at scores, the games played earlier, Washington squeaking by Minnesota, all on field goals. The Giants 23-10 over Seattle. Barry Sanders finally breaks 100 yards for this season in a big win over Tampa. And these are games that are in progress here. 1st and 10. Ball at midfield. Aikman with time. Incomplete. Kelvin Martin. Kelvin looked to be a little tentative. We see a flag on the play in the backfield. But Johnny looked to be a little tentative as he was reaching across the middle. I think they know Ronnie Lott's nearby.
Ronnie,
illegal use of hands to the face. Number 74 of the defense. 5 yards, automatic 1st down.
That's Nolan Harrison, the 2nd-year player out of Indiana.
Well, they're playing a 2-deep zone, and when you go in there to catch the ball, you got to know number 42's around there, and if you don't, he's going to remind you that he is around there, verbally and physically.
Rudely. Jimmy Johnson, 4th-year head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. has control of the program, doing things his way, and it is a successful way.
They've been a dynamic organization since he's joined that team, and they're on their way to one of the really fine franchises again in this league.
4 wide receivers in on 1st and 10. Incomplete pass intended for Jay Novacek, and Winston Moss in the early going looking very good.
The Raiders are playing, as we said, a 2-deep zone. They're trying to double cover, in essence, both wide receivers. So Troy Aikman is going to have to throw the ball in the middle to the tight end, to the inside wide receiver, and the linebackers become very important. Winston Moss that time covered the tight end, knocked the ball down, and that's what they have to do. You'll see Dallas throwing in the middle a lot early in the game.
I'd say that the Raiders defense has been pretty stingy. Smith, nowhere to run that time. As a matter of fact, a loss of 1 as Eddie Anderson was in there to do the job.
Howie Long did a great job. He's the reason this play didn't go anywhere. Here's Howie Long right there. Watch him just break through the line, force Emmitt Smith wide. He comes off the block. Now he's there. Now Smith, it's over for Smith now. He's just trying to survive. And you see all the other guys come. Howie Long should get credit for that tackle. He won't, but he should be.
Well, in the coach's eyes, like yourself, he will.
And he has got the key role for the Raider defense, I think, in this game.
3rd and 11. Aikman looking for Irvin, has him complete for the 1st down inside the 30. Eddie Anderson on the tackle. Michael Irvin with a sure reception there.
Here we're going to see Irvin come down against McDaniel. He backs off, gives him some. Irvin's a great in runner. See, he pushes up the field, turns in. That ball's already in the air. Great timing from Troy Aikman. It's a special receiver that'll go and catch those tough passes, 3rd and 10, when you know you're going to get hit. He didn't get hit hard that time, but he ran a great pattern. The ball was on time.
And that was an indication why he is the NFL leader in receiving yards. 1st and 10. Number 28 of LA on the ground. Smith. And Emmitt Smith ahead for maybe about 4.
That's their lead draw play or ISO play, and that's a play the Raiders have to stop. We're going to see the fullback come in motion, and basically Smith just take it up there, and then you'll see he's ready to veer anywhere he sees a hole. He sees a huge hole here. The Raider defensive linemen are up the field. Now you see here they've got a great block on Young. Now he's up the field right now. Big hole.
4:26 left in the 1st quarter play. Raiders on top, 6-0. Aikman, Screen, and Smith. It looks like he was pushed out of bounds at about the 22 by Aaron Wallace.
Boy, what a great throw by Aikman. Greg Townsend was out there just sniffing, kind of laying in the weeds, waiting for that one. He put it just over his head, right in Emmitt Smith's hands. Emmitt Smith didn't even break stride, and they got a good gain out of that.
And the 1st down, the little swing pass to Emmitt Smith worked effectively. That's one of the things Norv Turner was saying, that Aikman is doing so much better this year, not looking all the time for the big plays, taking the underneath stuff.
Taking what's given him, and that time he didn't have anything down the field, and it came off fast to his swing receiver.
1st and 10 from the 18. Aikman completes to Smith, and Smith inside the 10 to about the 9.
Again, the short passing game against zone defense. If you play zone defense and try to take the wide receivers away, there's something open in the middle quickly. Troy Aikman does a great job of just dumping the ball to Emmitt Smith. He saw that, maybe his 3rd step stepping back, boom, threw it on the 5th step, completion, 2nd and 1.
Aikman 6 of 7 for 53 yards. Brings up a 2nd and 1. Ball marked at the 9. On the ground again, Smith. And Smith looks to have it from here.
That time Ronnie Lott penetrated and almost got Emmitt Smith in the backfield. One of the great things about Smith, people seem to have him, and then he just kind of slips away from him and gets a first down. That could have been a 3-yard loss easily.
Raiders defense inside the 20 has been extremely stingy as of late.
Well, they're going to be tested here, but they have made a real turnaround defensively from the early games where they lost. Now they're not turning the ball over, but their defense is really carrying them.
Cowboys trailing by 6, 6-0, 2:23 left in the first period of play. First and goal, ball at the 7. Aikman decides to take it and gets back, it looks like, to the line of scrimmage. Maybe a gain of 1. We'll see where they mark it. Howie Long on the tackle. That can be a frightening sight, and I'm sure Jimmy Johnson felt that as well. Howie Long coming at Aikman.
Well, I'm not sure he could see it from where he's standing, but I think what he was looking for, they were looking for Emmitt Smith on that short pass over the middle, same one they ran a few plays ago, but he wasn't there, and he didn't have anything to do with the football, so he took it up there and didn't make much, but he didn't lose anything either, and didn't throw an interception.
92,488 on hand, a sellout, largest this season in the NFL.
Here comes the blitz.
Second and goal. Smith. Touchdown, Dallas. Emmitt Smith. 7th rushing touchdown of the season.
Well, this is the right call at the right time. This is just a draw play. Again, Howie Long's penetrating. We're on there again. Ricky Ellison just is unable to tackle him. Nobody blocked him. Ricky Ellison is sitting in a hole and says, "You're mine." Uh-oh. That's what Emmitt Smith does better than anybody in this game, is just slip away from him.
Lynn Elliott, 17 of 17 on point after. Make it 18 of 18. And the Cowboys go out ahead by 1 with 1:32 left in the first period of play.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Chrysler Plymouth, a division of the Chrysler Corporation. UPS, for reliable on-time delivery throughout Europe and around the world. Trust UPS. And by Coors Cutter non-alcoholic brew.
The biggest stage here in Hollywood, just outside the Los Angeles Coliseum, 92,000 strong here. Cowboys on top 7-6. And the ex-Cowboy Wright from his own 6. And Alexander Wright smashed at the 20. Kenneth Gant greeted his ex-mate in rude fashion.
You are watching the National Football League on CBS Sports.
1:23 left in the first quarter play. Cowboys on top 7-6. Cowboys scored on its opening drive, and the offensive line, big hand in that. 14 plays, 80 yards, 8:48 off of the clock, culminating with an Emmitt Smith 6-yard run.
Now the offensive line plays big roles in big games, and they did a great job there. You got to look at Eric Williams, who's headed for really stardom in this league with the offensive tackle.
First and 10 from the 20. Marinovich, play action, a boot. Nearly intercepted. Good defensive play that time by Larry Brown, the young man out of TCU. Well played.
Well, we're going to see Willie Gault go up on Larry Brown. Larry Brown did not give him any respect at all that time. It was a bootleg pattern. Willie Gault had time, pushed him, but Brown hung right with him and came back and almost intercepted the ball. The Raiders will go up pretty quick here. They do not like people to crowd their wide receivers. We'll see a deep ball in the next few minutes.
Raiders went 83 yards on the opening possession to score. Did not convert on the point after. Trail 7-6. This is Dickerson. Across the 25. Eric Dickerson looks to be near the first down marker. We'll see where they spot it.
Here we get a look at one of the great runners in the history of this game, and the Raiders are doing a great job of getting him outside, weak side in this game. This is away from the tight end. This is where it's hard to run. Watch the fullback. Whoa, take the linebacker on Smith versus Norton. Dickerson knows how to get up the field. And watch as this game goes on, James, how he finishes runs. He is a physical runner with great speed.
Ran hard for 10 that time. First and 10. On the ground again. Only one this time. And that was Steve Smith. We'll bring up a 2nd and 9. 29 seconds left and counting in the first quarter. Raiders trailing 7-6.
Well, that was as good a first quarter as you could ask. Both teams got out and did the things they wanted to do. Emmitt Smith had 6 carries on their drive and 3 receptions. The Raiders had great mixture on their drive, so we saw excellent football in this first quarter.
The Raiders, who are 0 for September, have won 3 straight in the month of October, looking to make it a perfect 4. And that's the end of the first quarter with the score. Dallas leading 7-6. Start of the second quarter here in Los Angeles, and this beautiful aerial shot not provided by John Robinson up on the roof, but Anheuser-Busch's aerial ambassador, Bud 1 Airship. And it's piloted by Corky Bellinger and Mike Hans. Back to live action. Steve Smith. And Smith takes it across the 35 to about the 37-yard line. Finally stopped by Vincent Smith, a pickup of 5 on the play.
Well, the Raiders are borrowing a page from the Dallas book now. They were working to Ethan Horton inside. Both linebackers dropped back on him. Steve Smith was free underneath him and made the catch, gets him down to 3rd down and about 4, 3.5 or 4, which is a much better place than 3rd and 8 or 9, obviously.
Dickerson out, Marcus Allen in. 3rd and 3, need to get to the 40. 3 wide receivers in for Los Angeles. Marinovich with time. Throws it far short of Willie Gault.
Here we're going to get a look at their key third down receiver, Ethan Horton, trying to work on the linebacker. He's being held and his jersey ripped. He came open late. The quarterback was already off him, and he said, "Man, you can't rip my jersey." The only one they give me.
Godfrey Miles doing the honors that time, grabbing him. As a matter of fact, both about the same size. Kelvin Martin back to receive this Jeff Gossett punt.
Dallas loves to come, and it looks like they're on a return here.
No flag on the play. Martin pushed back to his own 10. And Martin turns the corner, bumped out of bounds at about the 26. We'll call it the 27. A 53-yard punt, 17-yard return. Everything quiet around the L.A. Coliseum. To the left of the screen is the L.A. Sports Arena, but that swimming pool, John.
Well, in the 32 games, that was the swimming stadium. I don't think anybody's been in there since 32.
Everyone's inside the L.A. Coliseum. 1st and 10 for the Cowboys. Ball at the 27. Aikman, deep drop. Completes it to Novacek for the 1st down. Jay Novacek taking it across the 40 up to about the 44. And Novacek has led the NFC tight ends in each of the past 2 seasons in receptions, and he continues today a 17-yard pass play.
We get a look at the end zone here. You'll see the tight end coming from our left. Look at the coverage. Look at the safeties back up and open up that middle for him. Novacek turns in there wide open. They're so worried about the wide receivers, Irvin in particularly, that Novacek has a chance to have a big day.
1st and 10 Cowboys from the 44. Smith looking to turn the corner. And run out of bounds by Ronnie Lott. A smart move by Emmitt Smith. So that, John, that kind of reminded me. We asked him last night, has he ever been afraid in a game of a guy or a team? And surprisingly, he didn't name the Raiders. Well, I guess it's his first go at him, or Philadelphia, but he named Atlanta.
Well, they were blitzing on him one day, and he said, we didn't have much of a passing attack that day. He said they were coming from all directions, and said that was a tough day. We showed that Emmitt Smith not only is tough, which I think he is, he's smart. He saw Ronnie Lott and said, hey, not this time.
Getting out of bounds. A pickup of 4 by Emmitt Smith brings up a 2nd and 6. 12:50 left in the first half of play. Cowboys on top by 1, 7-6. Aikman just got rid of it as Nolan Harrison all on top of him with the quarterback pressure.
Well, that's the inside push. We're going to see Harrison come. He's going to be the right defensive tackle, as we see here. Watch the push he gets, and watch how he forces Aikman to throw, kind of off his back foot. He's up. He's got the win against Nate Newton right now, throwing off his back foot. I don't think he saw anything. He just kind of threw that one away.
Nice swim move that time by Harrison.
Look at him to go inside to Kelvin Martin with the tight end.
Cowboys 2 of 2, third down conversion. Aikman decides to run it, and he's not going to make it. He's going to be about a half a yard shy.
Well, that time Aikman was going to the tight end, Novacek, the whole way. Anthony Bell had him man-to-man and did a great job on him because he was looking for it. Finally had to run and came up a yard short. Anthony Bell gets a lot of credit for that one.
So 3 and out for Aikman and the Cowboys, and Mike Saxon comes on for the first punt of the afternoon for Jimmy Johnson's Cowboys. Tim Brown back near his own 12 for the Raiders. Timmy Brown out of Dallas, Texas himself. A lot of family and friends back home watching him. It's kicked away from Brown. He takes it at the 10. So it'll be Raiders ball after that 34-yard punt, 7-yard return. Good ball game here in L.A. Cowboys on top by 7-6 here in the second quarter of play. James Brown along with John Robinson. And John, going back to the top of the show and the theme, the boxer slugger bit, it seems to be a pretty even match thus far.
It really is, and both teams are using the weapons they have. I think both secondaries are trying to take the wide receivers away. So the tight ends, the running backs, the fullbacks are going to catch a lot of balls if that continues. I think it's an outstanding game so far, and both quarterbacks are going to play a big role if they can throw the ball underneath the zone coverage.
Art Shell had been talking about how his offensive line would have to do a better job of blocking and holding blocks. Thus far, very impressive. 1st and 10 for the Raiders. On the ground, Dickerson and Eric Dickerson moving the pile ahead for about 4. And John, Art Shell has to be pleased with the way Dickerson is running. He's got that nice lopey move, seems to be quite excited today.
Well, I think what Art's pleased about are the guys in front of Eric. They're blocking for him. As you see, that time that was just a run into the middle and wound up with 4.5 yards. And that's when the great runner gets a chance to be a great runner, when he early in the ball game can make consistent gains. Eric's off to a good start, may have a great game.
2nd and 6 on the ground again. No happenings that time as Dickerson is wrapped up by Jim Jeffcoat, 10th-year veteran out of Arizona State, and he is playing well in a reserve capacity, if you will.
Well, here we see him as the right defensive end. He doesn't get blocked in this particular play. Watch him come in, and well, it's kind of blocked. I think Steve Smith didn't think he would pinch on him. He came inside the block. The runner had no chance that time. That's not a normal move for the tackle on that side, and he came right inside of Steve Smith's block. That's one that he's got over Steve Smith.
3rd and 5. Flag on the play as Anthony Smith looked to be far too soon, or make that Charles Haley.
Charles Haley so anxious to get a sack. You know, since he's joined this team, he has been a big factor, but he hasn't gotten sacks.
Offside, number 94 of the defense. 5 yards. Repeat, 3rd down.
This is Haley versus McElroy here. He's going to come off the football early. McElroy doesn't have much chance. That's where you just kind of got to tackle him. It's a good thing that Eric Dickerson stood in there and got a piece of him so he wouldn't have one of those killer shots on the quarterback. But that's offside, and now it puts him 3rd down and 1.
And don't think that Todd Marinovich isn't happy about Dickerson being there.
Absolutely. That's what friends are for.
3rd and 1. Heavy package in for the Raiders. 3 tight ends. On the ground. I've got to see the spot on this one as Steve Smith.
This is one of the crucial calls in football and one of the most subjective calls in football. They're going to have to measure for it. You know, you give the ball to the big back going in there, Steve Smith, a 245-pounder, and sometimes they don't do as well as the little guy who kind of makes you miss in there. Somebody got a straight hit on Steve Smith and knocked him back.
By that much.
Robert Jones was the man that really made a good hit. Here we got to look. It's the thing has already started, but we're going to see Jones. We were going to see Jones right there, but we missed him. But he stepped up and stopped Steve Smith. Here we're going to get a look at Jones this time. Now he's just going to step right up in there. He doesn't get blocked, and he makes a great play. Watch him step, boom, right there. He goes right through Dickerson. That time Dickerson was the blocker and Steve Smith was the ball carrier. I'm not sure that's the right order.
Gossett on to punt for the Raiders. Kelvin Martin back for Dallas from the 27. And Martin skips out of bounds at about the 34. So it'll be Dallas ball when we come back. A 48-yard punt, 7-yard return, 9:38 left in the half. Have come a long way from September when they were 0-4, won 3 straight here in October, but still every game from this point forward a must.
They need this win, and every Raider knows it, and they're all going to respond and play as good a football game as they can.
First and 10 for Dallas from the 33. On the ground, Smith. And Smith getting some nice blocking, finally tackled by Ronnie Lott, a gain of 7. Now, John, I was asking you, Smith doesn't look to be all that fast as we take a look at the AFC West standings. The Raiders 3-4, and again, still need victories in order to be a factor in this race.
They're not too far behind, and they get both Denver and Kansas City at home, so a win today is a most important result for the Raiders.
I was mentioning Emmitt Smith, 8 carries for 32 yards. Brings up a 2nd and 3, and back on the ground to Smith again, and a first down. And John, again, I guess you can talk about Emmitt Smith at any point in time. He doesn't look to be all that fast, but what is it that he does so effectively in traffic?
Here's a look. This is what makes him such a great player. He's going to bring the ball weak side, but watch his moves in this area here as we clear it. And now get a look. Now watch him start there. Watch his feet now widen. Boom. Up through that hole. Makes another guy miss. Now finishes the run with a lurch forward for about 4 yards. That's what great runners do. And those are the things that make runners great, when they can run in crowds and get yards.
Rarely takes a hit direct on. Aikman back on first down. And loses the ball, fumble. And it looks like the Cowboys recovered it. Darrell Johnston alertly, the fullback, on top of it.
Here we see it at ground level. Aikman just doesn't have anybody. This is about the 3rd time now that the Raiders have covered the people he's looking for. Looking at him, look at our camera. There's nobody there. His second target is not. He's starting to run. He's still looking, and gets hit by Howie Long, who, again, we believe plays one of the key roles in this game. Fortunately, the ball got back to him.
Second and 10. Aikman. A little miscommunication there as Alvin Harper saying, wait a minute, I'm doing an in pattern, you're throwing it as an out.
Well, I think it was Ricky Ellison that got in the way of that. He got in the line of sight of Troy Aikman, and I think Aikman figured that he couldn't get it inside of him, so he pretty much threw it away.
Now, I mentioned before, Ricky Ellison is a guy you've been speaking a lot about, and talking about speaking, Jay Schrader talking to Todd Marinovich. Jay Schrader has really handled his quote-unquote demotion, if you will, with a lot of professionalism.
He really has. He's showed what poise he has, helping the young guy there, and that's a sign of class. It's a sign of a great team ethic, too.
3rd and 10 from the 48. Need to get to the 42. Overthrows the intended receiver, Alvin Harper.
Terry McDaniel is one of the better corners in this league. They figure they have to get the ball to Alvin Harper. Terry McDaniel just ate him up that time. He was with him stride for stride. There was no place to put the ball. Troy Aikman gave it a glimmer of hope by throwing it right against the sideline. But that one is a win for that guy.
Mike Saxon on for his second punt of the afternoon for the Cowboys. Tim Brown back around his own 11. And it takes a Cowboys bounce and is down at about the 3. A 49-yard punt by Mike Saxon. Timmy Brown thinking that it would roll into the end zone. Did not.
In 1993, you'll have over 500 new car models to choose from. And you can be pretty sure that most of them will cost more than they did.
Big plays in the game so far. Mike Saxon does a great job of punting. Tim Brown is taught not to go deeper than the 10-yard line. That ball lands on the 3. Tim Brown isn't going to fair catch anything inside the 10. That looks like a Lee Trevino 9-iron shot right there. And there's Joe Albazano, who's taking credit for said, I taught that guy everything. Right? That's what special team coaches do, because they sure get the blame when it goes wrong.
First and 10 from the 3 on the ground, and Steve Smith running ahead for a couple of yards. So, John, again, to go back to that point, Tim Brown made the right decision then in letting the ball go.
Oh, absolutely. He just was unlucky, and that was a great punt by Mike Saxon. But the punt receiver is taught never to fair catch a ball inside the 10. This is so difficult here. The chances of driving 96 or 7 yards for a touchdown are probably 1 in 90 or something like that. They're way up there. So what the Raiders have to do is just try to get maybe 1 first down, 2 first downs, get room to punt the ball. Look for Marcus Allen coming out of the backfield here. He's in the game at tailback.
Ball at the 5, 2nd and 8. Marinovich back to pass with time. Lofting it, looking for Allen. Incomplete. And is there a flag on the play? There is a flag. Back at about the 15. Isaac Holt was right there on the coverage.
It's going to be a hold against Ethan Horton. That matchup between the linebacker and Horton that time.
Holding, number 51 defense, 5 yards, first down.
There it is. That's Norton versus Horton, and they got him that time. Remember, we showed an isolation of a little while ago of those two guys coming together, and that's going to be a matchup. That time you saw Marcus Allen did come out of the backfield, was the primary receiver. Dallas double covered him, so it leaves one-on-one, a good tight end against a linebacker. Tight end's going to win that battle a lot of times, or force the linebacker to hold him.
First and 10 for the Raiders. Ball at the 10, 6:26 left in the first half of play. Raiders trailing by 1. Allen. And Marcus Allen makes something out of it as he picks up 4.
Well, that's an off-tackle play. They pull the backside guard. Marcus is looking for a place. The good runner loves to get outside. Allen and Dickerson both are guys that like it outside, trying to find a lane. Notice as this game, we're seeing 3 of the best runners in the NFL. Emmitt Smith, Marcus Allen, Eric Dickerson, all of them finish runs with a little burst at the end. All of them get that extra 2 and 3 yards. It really adds up as the game goes on.
And 2 out of the 3 runners, other than Smith, of course, you've had a hand in help to make good runners or great runners. On second down, complete for the first down. Nice pass from Marinovich to Andrew Glover.
That's the other tight end, and as we said, this is going to be the tight end on the left as we look at this film here. Watch him release, come up the field. Again, we're going to see linebackers working on him. There's the inside linebacker trying to cover him. Glover goes down, pushes off him, comes back to the football. Ball's on the money. Excellent throw by Todd Marinovich. That's one of the things that Todd does really well, and I think will become truly great at that in time. The short, accurate pass.
And also pays that Glover is his best friend. Allen on the pit. And Marcus Allen up to about the 28-yard line. A 4-yard gain by Marcus Allen. Now, I mentioned that you coach both Allen and Dickerson. You've had a hand with a number of players in this game. Lott, Ronnie Lott, Allen, Dickerson, Ellison, Don Mosbar. My goodness, John, you've had a big hand in these careers.
Well, those are the kind of guys that make you look like a good coach. Some of the great players and some of the great people. You know, we had a chance to talk to most of them, and it's a thrill just being around those kind of men. And it's one of the great memories of my life being associated with them.
2nd and 6. top, looking for Galt. And overthrows Willie Galt, and that may be a little tough to do, but Marinovich, knowing that he maybe should have taken just a bit off of it, lofted a bit more.
Well, he doesn't have that strong an arm, and I think when he's got to throw it with everything he's got.
Live here from the LA Coliseum, 92,488. First sellout of the season for the Raiders on hand, as the Raiders trail the Dallas Cowboys 7-6. James Brown along with ex-Rams coach John Robinson. And John, also you coached here at USC, so you're very familiar with the stadium. You were awfully pumped up coming in here.
Well, it's the most beautiful sight in the world to see this stadium sold out, 92,000 people. Very impressive, very exciting game.
3rd and 6. Marinovich throws it incomplete. Intended receiver was Ethan Horton, but there is a flag down on the far side of the field.
This time it's again holding on the against the defensive secondary or pass interference. This time it's Gant.
Holding number 28 of the defense. 5 yards, automatic first down.
That was Woodson instead of Gant. It's hard to handle those big tight ends that can move. Here we get a look at.
Oh my goodness.
That's a bit of a wrestling match right there. I'm not sure who's doing what to who. Umpire or the referee saw that late in the thing. Again, that's probably more pass and offensive pass interference. And that's what Jimmy's saying.
He's saying the same thing.
Hey, I saw the whole thing. When you're a coach, you see everything, right?
I probably said it was within the 5 yards allowed. Marinovich back to pass, going up top again. Just beyond the outstretched hands of Willie Galt. Didn't work the first time. Galt said, hey, let's try it again. Just about there. Well, somebody who is there in New York for an update, Greg Gumbel.
All right, James, at Minnesota, here's how the Vikings beat the Redskins. 1:09 to play. Chip Lohmiller's 5th field goal of the day, a 49-yarder, 15-13. The Redskins win it. We'll have all the highlights coming up at halftime. JB?
All right, Greg, and boy, Tony Dungy's defense still doing the job there in the dome. Redskins did not score a touchdown. Greg and Sherry will have all the highlights and action for you back in New York at halftime. Marinovich. And Todd Marinovich tackle from behind. Leon Lett, Jimmy Jones. And you can see him limping just a little bit. A pickup of 4 will bring up a 3rd and 6 for the Raiders.
Well, that time he didn't have anybody open. You know, you talk about third down backs. Marcus Allen is one of the best because he not only is a great receiver, he can stay in and block. That time he gave extra help on them against Jeff Coat coming from the outside. And the blocker, runner, receiver, the all-around back is the most valuable kind of player you can have.
3rd and 6, Raiders 0 for 2 on 3rd down conversion. Complete for the first down. Nope. Dropped by Brown, and there is a flag on the near side, 32. Brown had it for a second, but dropped it.
Holding on the offense. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
So Jerry spared the embarrassment for whatever player by not identifying him.
This game started out, looked like it was going to be a great offensive show, and now the defenses have risen and really slowed things down, and we've had a series of punts now in the second quarter. The first quarter was all offense, and the second quarter has been pretty much all defense.
Both teams statistically doing well on the season defensively.
Look for Dallas to come.
They're catching it, and it'll be spotted at the 9. A 53-yard punt by Gossett.
This is an all-out rush now. Gossett gets the ball off. They have a quick snap. That's just kind of falling over each other. That's an Academy Award.
Couldn't be more appropriate here in Southern Cal.
In the beginning, there was only one vehicle of its kind. Today, it's the only one to combine a lease this powerful With one this secure.
Coming up next Sunday, it's doubleheader action on CBS, starting with a special post-Halloween edition of the NFL Today. Then in Game 1, most of you will see Tampa Bay at New Orleans or other regional action. Game 2, it'll be a showdown, the Eagles and the Cowboys, or the 49ers visiting the Cardinals. Back to live action here. Dallas keeping it on the ground as Emmitt Smith takes it ahead. 2:54 and counting left in the first half. And you know what? We do get special treatment here. Nice job here. Bob Monsbach, our producer, cannot claim credit for that. This is the third man in the booth. Been a pretty solid one thus far, though.
And he is, if he's a fan of defense, but he looks like a defensive pumpkin there, doesn't he?
No teeth, huh?
Yeah, definitely a defensive
or
pumpkin.
very
He's starting
few.
to get happy now.
Smith again. And Smith somehow making a little out of nothing. Ricky Ellison on the stop, a gain of 4, and it looks to be enough for the first down. John, you talk so much about the feet of Emmitt Smith helping him to make these shifty moves.
Well, he's always on balance, and you watch as this game goes on how many times his feet are just spread a little bit. He's kind of in a semi-crouch position, and his eyes wide open, seeing things. And when he sees something, boom, he can get to that place. That time that was, as you said, a bad play that he made a first down out of.
And I'm sure he's glad to take the break, as we will, with the 2-minute mark here in the first half. 7-6 ball game, 2 minutes left in the first half, and John, the thinking here, both teams with 3 timeouts remaining.
Well, Norv Turner, the offensive coordinator for Dallas, I'm sure is thinking, let's get a couple more first downs. You don't want to risk putting the ball up too much in the middle in this area. If he can get a couple first downs, use one of the timeouts, then they can go in and think field goal or touchdown.
Out of the eye, Irvin to the near side, Hopper to the far side. 1st and 10. On the ground, play action. Aikman throws it incomplete, threw it in the direction of Darryl Johnston. And we get a report from the sideline that Andre Bruce for the Raiders has a hyperextended knee, but is expected to return.
Here's a look at Norv Turner up in the press box, the offensive coordinator, who's done just a brilliant job. He's the man on the left with his hand near his throat there saying, I got to find a way to get a first down. He has been just one of the key factors in the rebuilding of this franchise. Now I think he would like to find a pass that'll get him a first down. He's going to play a card.
Playing it smart, you're right, keeping it on the ground in the hands of Emmitt Smith, who takes it up to the 30 for a gain of 9.
Again, the call that you didn't expect. That time they were thinking pass. Emmitt Smith has made a lot of yards in the middle. He has not done a lot outside, but coming down the middle on the Raiders, I think he's found some lanes and made some plays.
12 carries for 61 yards in the first half for Emmitt Smith, who's done quite well on grass, averaging over 100 yards per game his last 5 on grass. 120 left in the first half. And the first down by Emmitt Smith, still on his feet. Emmitt Smith, what an outstanding run by Smith. Winston Moss finally pushing him out of bounds.
That is a great run. We're going to get a look here. We'll look at Ricky Ellison and the fullback. Look at the collision that is coming between those two. And watch Emmitt Smith. Look, Ellison steps up in there. Actually, it's the outside linebacker, Vince Moss, that gets the hit on with Johnson. And look at the run. Boy, is he hard to tackle.
Yes, and you know, Jimmy Johnson told us last night, Ronnie Lott actually delivered the first shot. He said the Raiders would try to hit him hard. Smith would make him miss and pick up some big yards. He did that time. 13 to be exact. 1st and 10, Aikman complete to Harper. And Harper has the first down.
Well, now the Raiders are in a little bit of trouble now. The ball has come over the 50-yard line. Now you see Dallas in a 2-minute drill. They've used one of their timeouts. Notice how Norv Turner was cautious with the ball deep in the territory. Got 2 good runs from Emmitt Smith that gave him breathing room. Now we'll see Dallas try to go in and get 6. They've got a full minute with 2 timeouts left, so things look good for Dallas to try to get some points here.
Coming up on the NFL Today halftime report, Greg and Terry will have all the scores and highlights from today's NFL action, including that exciting big game up first, which was Minnesota and Washington. Washington had to pull it out in the closing minutes on a field goal. by Chip Lowmiller. Lowmiller back home in Minnesota, looking to do well in front of the hometown crowd, and he did, obviously. Jimmy Johnson right now looking at his squad in Raider territory with 1:02 left in the first half. Cowboys on top 7-6.
Michael Irvin now is the key player for the Cowboys. He's the guy that makes the big plays.
Ball at the 44 of the Raiders. First and 10 Cowboys. Aikman looking for Alvin Harper again. Incomplete. Harper had his fingers on it. Terry McDaniel defending. And again, we knew that Alvin Harper was a guy the Cowboys were looking to get more involved.
Well, they got him involved just the play before with his first catch for a while. They came to him. Yeah, I was a little surprised. They had man coverage that time. Michael Irvin had Washington one-on-one, and they didn't think to him. They were thinking strong side. I think they thought automatically that Michael would be double covered. So we may see them come back to him. But don't be surprised if we see a draw play here with that great young tailback there in the ball.
Harper to the far side. Irvin to the near side. 2nd and 10. Back. Give the credit to Howie Long. 4.5 sacks on the season for Howie Long.
We talked about Howie Long having to put pressure in the middle. Here he is. Here we see him on the center, coming again, fighting through there. That's just power, determination, right to the quarterback. That's what the Raiders needed. Pressure up the middle against the short drop that Troy Aikman tends to take. Got in his face. There was no place to go but down.
Art Shell has seen the Cowboys take their second timeout, leaving one for Dallas. Shell's Raiders have all 3 remaining. 51 seconds left in the contest. You rarely see Art Shell very demonstrative on the sidelines, but clearly the players know what the game plan is, and he doesn't need to say much.
Well, what he does is set an ethic for this football team, sets a standard. Everybody looks at him and says, there's a guy in the Hall of Fame. You know, it wouldn't be too bad looking at your head coach who's in the Hall of Fame, looking at your owner who's in the Hall of Fame. Pretty good ethic established by that football team. I think Dallas has to be thinking, we've got to find a way to get Michael Irvin the ball. He is just too good a player to be not involved in this part of the game.
3rd and 13 for the Cowboys. Aikman sacked. Give the credit to Aaron Wallace. 2nd sack of the season for Wallace.
Wallace comes to the outside, lines up outside the defensive end, and here you see him. Mark Tuinei is going to step out to block him. They're a little uncertain about the pass blocking. Tuinei's off slow. Wallace is by him and has the sack. I think part of that was the call. I think it confused the Dallas offensive line. Gunther Cunningham, the defensive signal caller for the Raiders, made an excellent call, got the sack, prevented points.
And the Raiders called timeout, leaving them with 2. And don't forget, at halftime, Greg and Terry scores and highlights from around the NFL. Aaron Wallace out of Texas A&M, 3rd-year player. I'm sure he's got some folks back in the Texas area who are smiling along with him right now.
Aaron Wallace is not a blitzer on this team. His role is to operate in coverage, and you don't get on the TV when you're in coverage. But when you get a sack, boy, everybody knows who you are.
Mike Saxon leads the NFC in punting. Tim Brown fields it at the 21. And Timmy Brown takes it up to about the 39. A big play man he is, Timmy Brown, with 34 seconds left in the first half, and the Raiders will have the ball at the 39.
Well, that was a short punt and not very high. Tim Brown does a nice job of coming up and catching it and attacking this defense. Comes right up at the teeth of the defense, puts them in great field position. That's an outstanding run at a particularly crucial time in this game. Now the Raiders can come at them with 3 timeouts, 34 seconds. They got a chance to catch a couple balls in the middle and get a first down and a chance at a field goal.
finding Mervin Fernandez to the near side. Marinovich. And Allen drops the screen pass. 29 seconds left in the first half. As we take a look at Jeff Jager, he has a long of 54 this year, that coming against the Giants.
Well, they've got to move the football about 25 yards. They don't have a lot of time. They've got to throw the ball down the field to get that done. Screen pass was a nice idea on first down to get part of it, but with 29 seconds left, one timeout, they've got to find something in the middle or come back on the outside to one of the wide receivers.
2nd and 10. And Jeff Coates should get credit for it. A loss of 7 on the play. So Jim Jeffcoat is going to get credited with a tackle as Marinovich drops the ball but recovers it.
Here we're going to see Jeffcoat coming up the field. He just goes by Wilkerson. He's by him. Sack's coming now. Knocks the ball right out of Todd Marinovich's hands, and that ends that drive. The big story in the 2-minute drives have been pass rush. One by Wallace and one by Jeffcoat that kind of stuffed out 2 potential point-scoring drives.
The first quarter was offense. Second quarter's defense. Now that's the end of the first half with the score. The Dallas Cowboys 7, the Raiders 6. Greg and Terry up next.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by the Heartbeat of America, Chevrolet, and your local Chevy dealer. Florsheim Comfort Tech shoes. Try a pair and get comfortable. And by HP LaserJet printers. If it isn't a jet, it's only a laser printer.
This is
sponsored by Levi's Dockers. Nobody does color like Dockers.
Hello, everyone. Greg Gumbel along with Terry Bradshaw. Welcome. It's halftime, and the Cowboys are leading the Raiders by 1. 7-6. A missed extra point is the only difference in this game. Meanwhile, halftime in Miami, neither Jeff George nor Dan Marino have thrown a touchdown pass. A couple of TD runs. The Colts and the Dolphins are tied at 7. That's the score in San Diego as well. The Broncos and the Chargers, as they approach halftime at Jack Murphy Stadium, they're tied at 7. John Elway has thrown a touchdown pass, and so has Stan Humphries. New England, the Patriots, frustrated by that Brown defense, which now has not allowed a touchdown in 14 straight quarters. 9-0. The Browns lead it on 3 Matt Stover field goals. Now, action earlier today will begin at the Metrodome, where the Vikings fell to the Washington Redskins. 15-13 was the final score. Joe Gibbs says, whoo, whoo, whoo. And then Terry Allen goes in from a yard out.
Whoo, hoo, ha. Terry Allen over left tackle to
Chip Lowmiller kicked 5 field goals, his 5th from 49 yards out with 1:09 left. Leslie Visser talked to him after the game.
Chip Lowmiller, he went to high school, he went to college here, 5 field goals today.
Yeah, it was a great feeling to come back, and we knew Minnesota was going to give us a tough run for our money, and I just wanted to come in here and show everybody we can win here and just spoil their fun.
Redskins have now won 3 straight. Their record is 5-2. The Vikings fall to 5-2. The Eagles at home today won just barely against the Phoenix Cardinals. 7-3 Philly, the final score. Randall Cunningham put the game's only TD on the board.
Both teams are rotating to Barnett, the other receiver, and you'll see Williams on the right side as Cunningham scrambles. The entire secondary rotated to Barnett. Cunningham finds Williams. He gets the touchdown.
Chris Chandler of the Cardinals knocked out of action in the game today. He's intercepted by Seth Joyner here, who returns, helps cement the victory. Meanwhile, after the game, Reggie White of the Eagles was one upset lineman.
You know, I'm very happy with the win, but I'm very discouraged right now with the referees because it's happening every week. I know I'm subjected to get fined, but I don't care because, there'll be no way that Reggie White would ever make big plays again with the holding and the things of that nature that's being called. And I hate to be one to sound like I'm complaining, but I've been in the league 8 years, and it's happening every year.
Eagle defense made the difference in this one, stopping the Cardinals 7 consecutive times inside the 3-yard line. At the Meadowlands, the New York Giants chalk up their 3rd win of the year. They beat Seattle 23-10. Coach Ray Handley under the gun here in New York. Jeff Hostetler, a 7-yard touchdown run to put the Giants up by a score of 13-10. And after the game, Ray says, well, maybe all this turmoil isn't all bad.
Most circus-like weeks around here have often turned out to be victories for us because 2 of the last 3 weeks have been like that. And So now my job, I guess, is to create a circus-like atmosphere for next week. Okay?
23-10 the final score. The Seahawks fall to 1-7 at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. The Bears go to 4-3 with a 30-10 win over the Packers. Here's the old fake punt. Chris Gardocki finds Mark Green for 43 yards. Now, as if the gainer wasn't big enough, watch the extra yardage will be tacked on because of a late hit by the Packers. The Packers didn't help themselves. Jim Harbaugh helped himself, though, on this play.
Good job. Play action is always great down inside the 10, especially if you have a quarterback that can run with the football. Harbaugh can. He finds tight end Jennings for the touchdown.
Now, on this goal line play, watch Green Bay's number 91, Brian Noble, right at the lower right. You see his head snap back. He suffered a neck injury here. He was wheeled off the field on a stretcher and taken to a local hospital. He had lost a feeling on one side of his body, but the hospital reports now say that Brian Noble does have feeling in his arms and legs. He is still undergoing tests, but at least the signs are positive for Brian Noble. The Bears over the Packers, 30-10. Final in Tampa, the Lions over Tampa Bay, 38-7. Big day for Barry Sanders, 122 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rodney Peete threw 3 touchdown passes, only the Lions' second victory of the season. And the Houston Oilers at home knocked off the Bengals, 26-10. Warren Moon, a good day, his 35th 300-yard passing game of his career. And the NFL Today continues here on CBS after this from your local station. Listen, rejoin James Brown and John Robinson. Take it away, JB.
All right, Greg, thank you very much. And keeping with John's boxing metaphor, the first half has been a real slugfest here in the first half. The Cowboys leading it 7-6. And John, I guess the only miscue that really could come back to haunt the Raiders, that missed point after it's a 7-6 ball game.
It really has been the only error. Both teams came out just wide open offensively and had long drives for scores. The missed extra point by the Raiders is going to haunt them maybe as this game goes on. But then the defenses both played very well in the second quarter. I think the offenses kept trying and tried to make plays, but the defenses made the key plays in the key set of circumstances, and we have a very close 7-6 game.
We talked about the running game at the top of the show. Emmitt Smith certainly has done the job. As you take a look at his numbers, he single-handedly has bested the Raiders, but the Raiders, again, do it by committee.
Well, Eric Dickerson and Marcus Allen both got off to good starts, I felt, but kind of got slowed down in the second quarter. Emmitt Smith continues to amaze me the way he can make a 2-yard gain into about an 8 or 9 yard gain, and they'll come back to him a lot in the second half.
From a quarterback perspective, Troy Aikman certainly has the better statistics in the first half. Marinovich, not a very good first half statistically.
Well, neither team is able to get the ball to the wide receivers so far, so I think the key issue in the second half is they got to get the wide receivers back in the ball game. They've got to have mixture between the run and the pass, and I think that's the key for both teams.
All right, and both teams scored on their opening respective drives. The Raiders did it first, going down the field 83 yards and coming up with a touchdown.
Well, here we see the Raider offensive line come off the ball. Marcus Allen just kind of walks into the end zone. I'm sure he thought it was harder than a walk, but he got into the end zone relatively easy. Here's the missed extra point that right now is the difference in this game. Both these teams are good special teams-wise, not so good here. Now we've got the punter and the kicker messing around with the football, and you know that's bad news when those two guys got the ball and they missed the extra point. That's the difference so far in this game.
All right, and we'll see how the boxing match here in Los Angeles turns out in the second half when we come back for the start of the third quarter.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Miller Reserve. Taste what barley does for beer. And by U.S. Air. Every time we fly, everywhere we go, everything we do, U.S. Air begins with you.
The site's still just as beautiful some 25 miles from here, the Malibu Pier. As a matter of fact, I thought that was the pier in your backyard, John Robinson.
Yeah, that's my house sitting right up on top of me.
Oh, go ahead.
I think you got to get a visa or something to get. When you live in the other side of town, they don't let you come out that part of town. But it's a beautiful, beautiful area. And what's really beautiful is this stadium sold out. And I think we're seeing a very fine football game.
John, I got to be honest. I mentioned earlier on that you were so excited at the top of this game. It was like you were going out there to coach yourself, being back in a familiar surrounding here.
Well, it's, you know, and we've had some great games when I was at SC, sold out, same atmosphere, the same energy. And this is one of the great stadiums in history. More great athletes have performed in this stadium, probably any other stadium anywhere in the world. when you think of the Olympic Games. Baseball with the Dodgers here. USC, UCLA, Raiders.
And we're back underway for the second half of action here. From the 5, Kelvin Martin. And Martin has his chin strap knocked loose. Now that's what I call a hit, John Robinson.
And boy, does it take courage to bring that ball back up.
Look at that.
The chin strap made about 12 yards, and he made, fortunately, a little more than that.
Mike Jones delivering the hit as well, the left linebacker. And did Woodson get a hit in there, too?
It looked like Woodson was the guy that got it knocked loose. Martin comes up the field. This is dangerous. You're running right at a bunch of guys who know you're the guy with the ball. Well, that wasn't what we thought. Yeah, that's your own guy. It's bad enough with those other guys after you. So when your own guys get you. Everybody is going at full speed on kickoffs. That's why it's so frightening, because everybody's at top speed. The Raiders were offside, so now they got to kick off from their own 30.
You talk about going full speed with those kinds of collisions. The reason why Tim Brown will not return kickoffs, he injured his knee badly that way.
Well, and again, you know, it's a dangerous play, and I think guys that are good kick returners are only good kick returners for a short period, and they try to find something else they can do so they can get off that routine. And we have now here Dallas has a chance for good field position here. Now this ball is going to be kicked from the 30. They could get it up past the 30, 35 to start their offense in the second half.
You think that these guys here, Clayton Holmes and Kelvin Martin, are looking forward to this again?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think, you know, you for a couple of years now, if they're doing it, if we come back here 4 years from now, they're not going to want to be doing it. But this is a chance for a big play for Dallas. Dallas has been one of the best special teams in the NFL, and they excel in all areas of return.
Martin from the 15. His way up near the 30. It'll probably be marked at about the 29. As we quickly recap again the first half, both teams on opening drives go on for the score.
You know, sometimes when you practice all week, you practice that opening drive. You rehearse maybe your first 10 or 15 plays, and you really excel in those. And then as the game goes on, you're kind of picking and you know, looking at different things, and sometimes the momentum slips away offensively. Here's a chance for them to get it back. First drive, third quarter, always important.
First and 10. Cowboys. Aikman back to pass. Throws it complete. And Alvin Harper hauls that one in. He's going to be about a yard shy of the first down marker. Call it a 9-yard pass completion from Aikman to Harper.
Excellent timing by the quarterback. 5-step drop and threw the ball on time. Washington had Harper covered pretty much, contested the ball, but the ball was there so fast it's hard for the defensive corner to react. Harper has got 2 catches, which is, again, something they wanted to have happen. They wanted to get him in the game.
Second and 1. Harper to the near side. Urban to the far side. Out of the I formation. And it's given to the up back Johnston. And Johnston looks to have the first down with plenty of room to spare.
Well, Johnson gets to carry the football once a month.
And Ronnie Lott is down on the ground hurting. Emmitt Smith was the one motioning for some help to come over.
Pretty hard to keep number 42 down. I think he's all right. He's saying he's not all right, but pretty hard for him to stay on the ground. Here we're going to see this collision at regular speed to give you a sense of just what happens.
Now that was a hit, and Ronnie Lott took that one right around that right shoulder.
Yeah, that's what hurt him. He has had some shoulder problems. He's probably made more big hits like that than any player that I can remember. And I think his shoulders have been worn down because of it.
So Dave Waymer, 13-year vet out of Notre Dame, goes in to replace him. First and 10 Cowboys.
It was a road game.
Smith. And Smith escapes the first tackle attempt by Anthony Smith, but finally dropped for a loss of 3 on the play.
This is what we talked about early in the game. Penetration inside. Watch the penetration come here from all of these people inside, and there's just no place for him to go. Watch him start. Golick is coming. The outside line, the outside man, Anthony Smith, forces him wide and then comes out and makes the play. But against a runner that is a great cutback runner like he, if you make the cutback in the backfield, you have a great chance to get him stopped.
2nd and 13 for the Cowboys. And Aikman is hit again and dropped. The sack goes to Aaron Wallace. 3rd sack of the season for Wallace, his 2nd today.
Well, that was the same circumstance that we saw at the end of the first half. They let Wallace just get out there wide and come. For some reason, Dallas let that happen twice. He's the stand-up right side linebacker. Here you see him on the outside. They just are confused as to how they're blocking. They're trying to slip a guard, Nate Newton, out on him, and Nate Newton came late, was uncertain. Wallace gets the sack. Now we've got 3rd down and 1 million.
Specifically 3rd and 22. And Smith on the draw, only back to about the 32.
Well, Wallace has had a big effect in this football game. 2 pressures from the outside. He normally doesn't come from that place very often. Emmitt Smith is limping and now
back down.
It looks
Grab
like
the back of that left thigh.
It looks like the hip or the hamstring. Yes.
Well, the Cowboys activated Curvin Richards today in the event that Emmitt Smith were to be hurt and go down, and Richards may very well be called into duty. You see the numbers on Emmitt Smith.
Well, what makes that tough for them is when you have a player like that. He is so important to the psyche of your offense. People start to worry if you've got your best player hurt. He's look how great he is at just dodging people, and I think he just got fallen on that hip, and I think he'll be all right.
Mike Saxon on the punt for the Cowboys. Tim Brown back to receive the punt. And it's a short one. Brown from the 38. He's got room.
A great special teams play by the Raiders. A poor punt by Saxon. Tim Brown came up aggressively, caught it on the run, and almost turned it into 6 points. Great job by the Raiders so far in this half. They did a great job of stopping the run of Dallas, and now they're in great field position. Eric Dickerson takes the ball inside for about 3 yards.
Well, a big break for the Raiders in terms of field position, John. 11:02 left in the 3rd quarter play. Raiders trailing 7-6 to the Dallas Cowboys.
Emmitt Smith is standing, which is, I think, good news for Dallas. Whether he returns or not, we'll just have to wait and see.
2nd and 8 from the 31 of Dallas. Marinovich back to pass. Looking for Willie Gault. He has him. Touchdown, Raiders. Tosses his 5th touchdown pass of the season, 3rd receiving touchdown of the season for Willie Gault. And Jimmy Johnson looks on with first lips. Davis. This time the point after is good. And the Raiders jump out in front.
Here we get a look at a Dallas blitz. There's no safety man. James Washington is up there. He's the safety man. The blitz is coming. They get good protection. Great protection. Nice soft pass. Willie Gault just runs away from Isaac Holt. Todd Marinovich knows it now. Touchdown.
13-7 ball game. Raiders on top of the Cowboys with 10:42 left. Emmitt Smith, we don't know whether he'll return. Kelvin Martin will attempt this return from the 1. And Kmart gets it up to about the 25 as we take a look back at the touchdown pass from Marinovich to Willie Gault.
Willie Gault is in the slot. Isaac Holt is trying to cover him. He's trying to give him as much room as he can, but here's a case of speed versus not quite as fast. Gault just gets inside, runs away from him. That's what happens when you blitz and you still give the quarterback time to throw the football. It's a disaster because there's no safety, and the receiver can run at an angle away from the cornerback.
And it was apparent that Gault had been telling Marinovich all afternoon, I can beat this guy. It was also clear that Holt was struggling with that slight left hamstring pull. A.G. and Richards, the backs in. Smith still on the sideline. And a gain of 2. Now, John, you mentioned when you saw that shot there, Emmitt Smith talking to Jimmy Johnson, trying to convince him to let him go back in.
Well, I think Jimmy just wants to make sure they've got a long season. Putting Emmitt Smith at risk is not the best thing. This football team has to be able to continue to get some momentum with somebody besides Emmitt Smith being in the game. So they've got to rely on Troy Aikman throwing the ball, the medium range and short range passes to get first downs.
Just as important, Darrell Johnston, bruised right shoulder. He had that coming into the game. He's out. 2nd and 8. A.G. and Richards are in the backfield. Aikman pumps. Going up top, looking for Harper. He's got it. Alvin Harper down for about the 22, his 3rd reception of the afternoon.
What a great call. Right when things were going against Dallas, they come right back, and boy, did they do a great job. Here we see Harper ISO'd against Washington. Washington's giving the inside, and you see there Harper's just running away from him. What a great throw. The ball's on the money. Harper never had to break stride. There was no help from the safety man that time, and Washington laid outside, pretty much giving him the opportunity to go to the post and make the play.
Harper's previous long had been 42 yards. This one was a 52-yarder. 3 catches for 74 yards. 1st and 10, Dallas. In Raider territory, complete as Aikman finds Irvin.
Well, this is a real sign of a team that's able to keep its poise. They lost their fullback. They lost their tailback. The other team scores the touchdown. They come right back and move the football down the field in 2 plays. That's impressive to me. Again, I think some great calls by Norv Turner, and I'm sure he's got a big sigh of relief. Norv was my offensive coach for a long time with the Rams and back at USC, and is a wonderful young coach in this league.
A 1st down for the Cowboys. Ball at the 11. 1st and 10. And Smith convinces Johnson to let him back in, and he takes it down. We'll see where they spot it. It looks to be a gain of about 7 on a play by Emmitt Smith.
Well, that's part of the thing I think coaches do. When they're a little worried, they ask the player to stay out and then kind of get a feel of how intense that, let me back in, coach, I'm okay. Jimmy Johnson got seduced that time. Emmitt said, hey, let me back in. He said, okay.
But Emmitt wasn't the only one who seduced him. Darrell Johnston talked his way back in as well. Ball marked at the 4. 2nd and 3 out of the I. Smith the tailback. Smith the ball carrier. Hit, but kept going. Touchdown, Dallas. Good second effort on the part of Emmitt Smith.
Here we get a look and watch Ricky Ellison, number 50, come right through and get a tremendous hit. Jumps over, boom, hits Emmitt Smith right on the shoulder pads. Hit him and slow him down. Wow, what a run that is.
8th rushing touchdown of the season for Smith. And Elliott on for the point after. And it's good. The Cowboys move back in front by the score of 14-13.
Here's a look at it ground level. Watch Ellison go over the top. Bang! Gets right on. Staggers him, but he comes right back. They do a great job of blocking everybody else. Puts the ball in the end zone. I guarantee you, great job.
to live action. Alexander Wright returning it for the Raiders, the ex-Cowboy. Lifted up across the 25 to about the 26, and Lynn Elliott in on the stop. And two great players involved in this touchdown run by Emmitt Smith and Ellison.
Here's greatness coming right at you, folks. The ball's going to be handed off to Emmitt. Now watch Ricky Ellison jump right over Daryl Johnston and just stun Smith, almost knock him over backwards. Watch how he comes back, dodges 2 or 3 players, sticks the ball in the end zone. That is as good a run as I've seen for a long time. And a guy who 2 plays later they had to help off before that rather, had to help off the field.
Dickerson, the ball carrier. And Dickerson runs into a hard hit. A gain of about 2 should bring up a 2nd and 8 for the Raiders. 7:13 left in the third period of play. Dallas on top, 14-13. James Brown along with John Robinson. And John, this is the kind of game you were expecting, a hard-hitting affair.
Absolutely, and I don't think we'll see Dallas blitz anymore. They got burned badly on the blitz, so they're going to force the Raiders to go a little bit at a time. Inaccurate with short throws, I think, is going to be a big part of the Raider hopes.
2nd and 8. Marinovich back to pass, flushed out. Flag on the play. Marinovich throwing on the run in the direction of Steve Smith, but there is a flag in the backfield. Usually synonymous with holding, huh? Now, what do you think Daryl Johnston lost?
I'll tell you who he lost. He lost Ricky Ellison, who jumped right over him. He said, "Is that guy in my shoulder pad?"
68 of the offense. 10 yards, repeat, 2nd down.
I've lost my head, and if you can find that number 50 that jumped over me bound down there somewhere. He's got a pinched nerve, and they're trying to rub it down inside. That's, you know, shoulder problems usually are pinched nerves, and I'm sure that's what he's doing there.
I thought they had improved surgical techniques. I know he had a bad right shoulder, but boy, what a gruesome way to put it back in place. Bruce Wilkerson, the guilty party, on that last holding play. 2nd and 18 for the Raiders. All back at the 18. Haley with the pressure on Marinovich, incomplete. Now that graphic illustration right there of what Haley has been doing thus far for the Cowboys. A lot of quarterback pressures. 23 coming into the game, but only 1 sack.
He's one of the finest outside rushers there is in the league, no question about it. They were trying to screen behind him, and they wanted him to come. They didn't want him to come quite that fast. Watch him come up the field 1 step and then inside right at the quarterback. Todd Marinovich is trying to throw him in there, but he said, "Hey, man, not that fast." Now we've got 3rd down and long, and this is where the quarterback has to be very careful. Don't commit the major error to give the other guy points. We may see a draw play.
3 wide out. Allen the lone back. Allen on the draw. A flag on the play. And Allen is dropped in the backfield. Jimmy Jones. Nice job by Jimmy Jones out of Miami. And that's not the only flag. There are 2 flags on the field.
Number 77 of the defense is offside. 5 yards, repeat, 3rd down.
Well, that's Jim Jeffcoat. Will bring up a 3rd and 13. And I'm sure the folks out in the listening and viewing audience hearing an awful lot of cheering whenever Dallas does well. This is truly still America's team. And also, the Cowboys used to train about an hour northwest of here in Thousand Oaks, California. So a lot of people familiar with the Cowboys.
If I were a Dallas Cowboy fan, I wouldn't make too much noise in this stadium.
We'll get you to elaborate on that in a minute. 3rd and 13. Marinovich pumps. Drills it complete to Mervin Fernandez, but he's about 2.5, 3 yards shy of what was necessary for the 1st down. Now, why wouldn't you cheer if you were a Dallas Cowboy?
Well, I just think, you know, there's a lot of guys in silver and black that have read all that propaganda that the Raiders put out and kind of believe it. That was a nice job by Todd there that time. He stayed in the pocket, stepped up, threw into the teeth of the defense. If I were the Raider coaching staff, I'd be a little nervous about that one. But he got some big field position. They gained about 17 yards. So now watch, the punt will put Dallas back down, not deep in their territory, but with enough field so that the Raiders can play defense successfully.
Delvin Martin back awaiting this Jeff Gossett punt. And not a good one at all as it heads out of bounds at about the 38. of Dallas. Cowboys will have good field position when we come back.
It's hot. It's spicy. It sizzles. It's the new hot-looking, hot-blooded Ford Ranger. The 1993 Ford Ranger. It's the hottest thing to hit America since the chili pepper.
Sounds like a high-tech camera, but beautiful pictures of translation. 1st and 10. Cowboys, ball marked at the 45. Aikman with time. Complete to Novacek. 1st down. Jay Novacek inside the 40 of the Raiders to about the 38. A 17-yard pass play.
We're going to look at the tight end coming across the middle. As soon as you get the ball thrown to the wide receivers, then linebackers have to take the tight end. They're playing zone, and they just get him in the crease of his zone. Safety man Eddie Anderson has to come up to make the tackle. A couple of completions to your wide receivers does wonders for your passing game. All of a sudden, you start getting double coverage. The Raiders are look like in double coverage again.
Out of the I formation on 1st and 10, Emmitt Smith. Smith ahead for only 2. Will bring up a 2nd and 8. This game is presented by authority of the National Football League, and this CBS telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS and the Los Angeles Raiders and the National Football League is prohibited. 2nd and 8 for the Cowboys. Ball marked at the 36 of the Raiders. It's a 14-13 ball game. Cowboys on top. Aikman going up top. Incomplete at the last moment. Excellent defensive job by Lionel Washington. Intended receiver was Michael Irvin.
Michael had him for a step there. He started up the field fast. It was bump and run coverage. Michael got by him, and the ball came up, but I think maybe the ball was up a little late. You see he's open there, and he's got to wait for it. Great job by Washington of getting his hand in there. Receiver then lands right on top of it. Cornerbacks are taught, don't look at that ball in the air. Look at the receiver's hands. When those hands go up to catch the ball, try to stick your hand right in the way, and he did that time. Knocked the ball away.
3rd and 8, and play is stopped. A timeout being called by the Raiders, I believe. That leaves the Raiders with 2. Dallas has a full complement of 3. Next Sunday on CBS, we'll bring you doubleheader action, starting with a special post-Halloween edition of the NFL Today. Then in Game 1, most of you will see Tampa at New Orleans or other regional action. Then in Game 2, it's an NFC East showdown with the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to play the same Cowboys or the San Francisco 49ers visiting the Phoenix Cardinals. That's next Sunday right here on CBS. 3rd and 8 for the Cowboys. Ball at the 36. And it was a quick out to Michael Irvin, incomplete.
Great job by Andre Bruce that time. He got right in the throwing lane. They have worked that pass to Michael Irvin on crucial situations like this. They were just out of field goal range. If they could have got it to him, they would have been in field goal range, even if they didn't make the first down. Andre Bruce just turned around and got right in the lane, and you saw Troy Aikman have to throw the ball in the ground.
Mike Saxon on for his 5th punt of the afternoon. Those numbers nowhere near his NFC average, a leading average of 45.3. That'll be hurt today. And an excellent attempt on the part of Dallas' special teams, but it'll be a touchback and brought back out to the 20. A first quarter missed extra point by the Raiders. The only difference right now, Dallas leading 14-13 with 3:44 left in the 3rd. And John, what do you think has to happen now? Big plays haven't been abundant.
Well, both teams made big plays to start the third quarter. Now they've got to settle down, I think, get rhythm back in their offense. Nick Bell has now entered the game for the first time at tailback for the Raiders. He is a big, bruising guy. He looks like Howie Long in a uniform, and they will try to run the ball to him a bit.
Listed at 6'2", 250. Tim Brown in motion. 1st and 10, Raiders from the 20. On the ground, this is Bell. And Bell is hit hard, but uses that strength and extra effort to pick up 2 on the play. We'll bring up a 2nd and 8. And here's a guy who would like to get a lot more carries as well, but he says he recognizes he's running with 2 veteran running backs who certainly will be Hall of Famers.
And he's still learning, and I think they're using him to the place where they can hopefully get the defense a little tired. When he comes in the football game, he's got fresh legs, he's got obviously size, and maybe kind of push that pile a little bit for them.
2nd and 8. Smith and Bell the backs. Marinovich with time. Now flushed out. Leon Lett is on Marinovich. Do they call it an incomplete? I'm sure Lett is most upset, saying that he thought he had the sack. And it looks like it was just an incompletion, and you know Leon Lett is most upset with that. He was looking for his 2nd sack.
Here we're going to get a look at Lett come after Todd this time. Marinovich looks a little hesitant to me. He's not quite sure what he's doing with the ball. That's good enough pass blocking to give the quarterback time, but he just couldn't find anybody and has got himself in trouble that time. He's got to get back there, deliver the ball a lot sooner than he's doing.
Lett wanted that 2nd sack of the season, didn't get it. Incomplete as Marinovich threw in the direction of Ethan Horton. And the Raiders continuing to experience frustration on 3rd downs. They're 0 for 5 on the afternoon.
What they're going to have to do with Todd now is to settle him down a little bit. The last 2 plays were not particularly impressive calls by him. He had a chance to get rid of the ball. He held it. Then on the 3rd down, he threw the ball right into coverage. That's what youth does for you. They can make big plays, but at times he doesn't have the patience to take what's there. That was almost a potential game turner right there if that would have been an interception.
Gossett on the punt. Cowboys ought to come away with good field position here. 2:49 left in the 3rd period of play. Kelvin Martin from the 34. Has an alley, a flag on the play. Martin has the punter to beat. And tackled around near the 15 of the Raiders, but there is a flag, a 52-yard punt return by Kelvin Martin. Finally tackled by Dan Lane.
You know, James, it's
way
amazing.
Back here on the near side.
It's amazing to me. The 2 punters for these teams are 2 of the very best in the NFL, and they're both having just terrible days.
During the run back, holding number 37, 10 yards on the spot of the foul, 1st down.
But that run back was created basically by a poor punt. There has, since early in the game, the punting has been very much below par. And they're giving the returners an opportunity to make big plays. Unfortunately, there was a penalty on James Washington for holding. It looks like that's about a 50-yard penalty there.
Negating a 52-yard return by Kelvin Martin. Martin did have and does have a 79-yard return for a touchdown to his credit. Boy, he was looking to add that one to the stats. 1st and 10, Dallas. Ball at the 31 of the Cowboys. Smith and Johnston in the backfield. Aikman to pass. Complete to Johnston. And Johnston across the 40 to about the 42, so a pickup of 6 on that pass play will bring up a 2nd and 4. 2:20 left in the 3rd period of play. Cowboys on top 14-13.
What's impressive about the Dallas offense is they really work for rhythm. Short passing game, steady runs by Emmitt Smith, and yet we've seen them make some big plays today. When we talked to Troy Aikman yesterday, he was saying the thing that he was most concerned about, they hadn't made the big play, the big throw, and they got one earlier today to Harper.
Out of the I formation, 2nd and 4 to Smith. And Emmitt Smith is not going to be near the 1st down marker. about a yard shy. A pickup of 3 by Emmitt Smith. What do you think? Jimmy Johnson is very glad that he listened to Emmitt Smith and Johnston to talk their way back into the game.
What he's glad is that he has Emmitt Smith on his side. You know, and that's very impressive to me to see a runner. I think a runner probably has more physical influence on a football game than any other position, because they take such a beating and they are so involved in the physical part of the game. To see him be injured and then come right back, he's going to have the ball here, 3rd and 1.
And Kevin Gogan reported as an eligible receiver, number 66 for Dallas. The pitch to Smith, 1st down. And a lot more. Emmitt Smith, excellent run by Dallas's running back, finally tackled by Nolan Harrison. And that is the 20th carry of the ball game. And whenever Smith carries 20 times or more, Dallas, a perfect 20-0.
Here's the pitch outside. You see Ronnie Lott fire through there, thinking the ball was going inside, misses. Now they're weak outside. Emmitt Smith makes the guy miss, almost turns that into a touchdown. If he'd have come down on the ground on balance, boom, he'd have been gone.
Smith continuing his fine play on grass, 101 yards, 6th game on grass, his last 6, over 100 yards. 1st and 10. Aikman pumping. Incomplete intended receiver was Alvin Harper. Harper looking to the official for some help. Lionel Washington on the coverage.
That was a double cut. Harper started outside and then was trying to go by Washington deep, and Washington just sat there and got in his way and destroyed the timing of the pattern. It was an excellent job by him. Now, he's saying, hey, you got me deep once, you're not going to get me deep twice.
Now, we also talked pretty candidly with Aikman about Harper and the kinds of difficulties Harper has been having. Aikman says it's more his confidence, but John, you think it may be just a bit more than that?
Well, I think you get used to going to the key guys. Michael Irving is such an important receiver. You tend to go, you kind of forget about him, and then the guy loses confidence. But he's also got some things to learn.
And Emmitt Smith, maybe a yard. We'll see where they spot the ball, as we've got 12 seconds left in the 3rd quarter play. And it's spotted back at the line of scrimmage. No gain. And the clock runs out. So that's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. Dallas 14, Raiders 13. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. And then Corky Bellinger and Mike Hance piloting the Bud 1 will use its Eye in the Sky camera. That coming up on November the 8th at the Rams versus Cardinals game in Anaheim. Now, I'm no tech genius, but I know the pictures certainly look good from here.
This is a big play, James. They're close to being in field goal range. 3rd down and 10.
Aikman to Irvin for the 1st down. Michael Irvin inside the 20. And Irvin wanted more. A 26-yard pass play.
The Raiders come with a blitz and leave McDaniel man-to-man on Irvin. Watch him push up the field. He's going to come in, pushing. McDaniel has to lay off and look when the ball is thrown. As soon as he came out of that break, turned in, and the ball was there for him. That's throwing and catching. And he is pointing to one of his relatives up in the crowd there and said, yes. But that's the combination of a receiver and a quarterback really being in sync.
1st and 10 for the Cowboys. Smith dancing, still juking. Inside the 10, down to about the 8. Ricky Ellison finally stops Emmitt Smith. Boy, what weapons, John, between Irvin and Smith.
And don't they use them well? They kind of work back and forth, occasionally include somebody else in it. But when they need it, Norv Turner, the offensive coordinator, goes to one of those two guys. And right now, the Dallas offensive line really is having a surge. They knocked the Raiders off the line of scrimmage that time to give Emmitt Smith the kind of room he needs to turn a 2-yard gain into an 8-yard gain.
2nd and 2. To the up back, Johnston, and Johnston stopped by Winston Moss. We'll see where they spot it.
I think I saw a flag go in there, didn't I?
Did you see a yellow flag go down?
He threw it right in the pile. It'll take us a while to find out.
Ah, John, good eyes. It's in there.
Holding number 53 of the offense. 10 yards, repeat, second down.
That's on Stepnoski, and boy, John, with great eyes from way up here.
Well, here we're going to get a look at a one-on-one battle, Washington and Irvin. That's two guys. That's a personal duel there.
I'd say so.
Not a lot of damage done there, though. A little more shoving and talking. And Irvin's looking over. See, look what he's doing to me, right?
And Irvin prides himself on being pretty strong, but Washington not to be outdone. 2nd and 12.
That time the ball came up, somehow confused Aikman. The ball man must have come up on the wrong count because everybody looked out of sync there. Aikman just fell on the ball. They were down inside the 10-yard line. They get a 10-yard penalty. You know, it's just brutal when that happens to you. I'm sure Jimmy Johnson is saying, man, we can't have those kind of errors, because now I think they're going to be looking for field goals rather than a touchdown. Although if I were Dallas, I'm sure Michael Irvin is big in their plans. Got Washington setting out on him man-to-man.
3rd and 12 from the 19. 3 wide receivers, but Smith, the ball carrier. And Smith explodes, getting down to about the 7, and that looks to be more than enough for the first down. Ronnie Lott with a touchdown-saving tackle, a first down run by Emmitt Smith. And, John, I go back to the point that I made. Whenever Smith carries 20 times or more, the Cowboys are a perfect 20-0.
Here's a passing down. You'll see the pass rush get up the field. Watch him just come outside of Howie Long, who's trying to rush the passer. Big hole. Great call. Again, I think Norv Turner had a field goal in mind. He certainly wasn't going to risk not getting points. But Emmitt Smith got him more than just a place for a field goal. He got him a shot at a touchdown.
And Emmitt Smith stopped by Aaron Wallace that time.
This is crucial for the Raiders, obviously. They need to force a field goal here. 2nd down now on the 7. Look for Dallas to come with a play-action type pass or a slant to Michael Irvin. He is so devastating on those slant patterns that that's something that they're willing to go even if everybody in the world knows it's coming.
2nd and a long 1. And there's a flag on the play.
I think we have defensive holding because Ronnie Lott certainly is upset.
On the play, there were 12 men on defense. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat, 2nd down.
Well, that's one way to stop him.
Well,
or try to.
It isn't if they catch him. The back judge is responsible for counting, and that time he saw it. You know, it's just a quick question of somebody coming in and not being clear to the guy coming out. If you have a variety of sets, sometimes it can be confusing. Now we're 2nd down. Here's a chance for the play-action passer. Again, not a bad idea is to give Emmitt Smith the ball a couple of times here.
2nd and goal. A bootleg by Aikman. Touchdown, Cowboys. There is a flag on the play as Aikman takes it across for his first rushing touchdown, and we'll see if it stands.
I think it's going to be defensive holding.
Holding, number 99 of the defense. Penalty is declined. Touchdown.
Winston Moss, the culprit.
Here we're going to see Winston Moss, 99 over there, just hold the tight end. It's a bootleg pass where he's looking for 84. No, Jay. And he says, hey, if you're going to hold him, I'm going to run and get in for a touchdown.
Lynn Elliott on for the point after. And it's good. And Dallas expands its lead over the Raiders.
This game summary is sponsored by McDonald's.
Well, the Cowboys lead the Raiders 21-13. Total yards, Dallas 319, LA 151. And John, going back to what we mentioned at the top, how nice it is to have the weapons. You called it the jabbing weapons of one guy, the knockout of another. My goodness, Dallas certainly has those weapons to call on.
They certainly do. And they do such a great job of using them, blending them together.
Raiders will bring it out to the 20, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Raiders at the 20. Well, again, we talked about the weapons that the Cowboys have at their disposal. What about the Raiders now in the final minutes of the game? What's necessary for them?
Well, again, they're going to have to score twice. I mean, they're 8 points down, so they're going to have to move the football. But they've got to be patient. They've got to be willing to take the short passing game. I felt Todd Marinovich got out of rhythm a little bit those last couple of series, so he's got to get back into rhythm and be able to move the football and make first downs.
Dallas's defense certainly has been doing a very effective job.
They really have, and they have put pressure on Marinovich, and I don't think he's responded particularly well since early in the third quarter.
10 minutes left in the game. Marinovich back to pass and throws it complete to Tim Brown. A flag on the play as Timmy has the first down plus about 8 to spare.
Well, he responded well that time. He went back and just got the ball to Brown, who has kind of disappeared in this game for quite some time. He was effective early, but then they've gone away from it.
Defensive pass interference, number 31. Penalty is declined. First down.
That one against Thomas Everett, ex-Steeler, making his second start for the Cowboys.
You know, since early in the third quarter when the Raiders went right down and scored, returned a punt, then threw a touchdown pass, Dallas has really taken over this game and has been very impressive.
1st and 10 from the 36. Nick Bell, the ball carrier.
James, I'm really...
Nick Bell only picks up about 2, John. Go ahead.
I am really surprised that they don't have Marcus Allen back in this football game, because they need to make yards in chunks. Allen is the guy to come out of the backfield, and if they keep him in the backfield, can give them some added pass protection. But he can come out of the backfield and catch the football. It just seems to me that they need him in this game at such a crucial time, and I think Marcus is probably saying, I want to be in there.
But why isn't he being used more?
Well, I think they get in, you know, you get into rotations and you say, well, it's this guy's turn, and you forget about those things perhaps a little bit.
2nd and 8. Marinovich back to pass. Escapes the tackle of Jeffcoat. Throws it over the head of Ethan Horton, and Horton didn't like the hit put on him by Isaac Holt and lets him know it in no uncertain terms.
Well, it was a late hit by Horton on Horton, and Isaac Holt is lucky he didn't get called for that one. We're scrambling now. Horton's trying to work his way inside. The ball's thrown way over his head. Now you see Holt just measure him and take a shot at him. That was not a legal shot. Probably should have been called.
But you know what? Holt smart. Not trying to keep it going. Well, Marcus Allen, as you have been indicating, John, should have been in there, is in there now. But for blocking purposes, and fumble recovered by the Cowboys. It looks like Leon Lett. First fumble recovery of the season for Lett.
Here again, we're going to get a look at the pass rush. Both defensive ends are up the field and closing in. Watch Haley close in on him. Again, force him out. He doesn't get the sack. Tolbert gets the sack, or Jeffcoat on that side. And I think Haley should get half of that sack because he's the guy that collapsed the pocket, forced the fumble, or forced Marinovich to step up, and then Jeffcoat got the fumble, the sack and the fumble.
That is the first turnover of the game.
Again, Raiders went to 3 straight passes. They needed to stay in some sort of balance. We're going to see Emmitt Smith for about 5 minutes here.
Yep. Here's the first of the 5 minutes. Emmitt Smith fumbles the ball. And the indication is that Dallas has recovered, and that is something you don't see Emmitt Smith do too often. As a matter of fact, he told you why he doesn't do it very often.
Well, in high school, his high school coach, I guess, he's really embarrassed him once after a fumble in front of the whole team, and he's kind of remembered that since then. Here we see him come right down the middle. This is their lead draw that they run so often. Emmitt Smith gets in there, a hand just comes in and knocks the ball loose, surprises him a little bit. I think he thought he had a big gain going there, and just got the ball knocked loose.
Big Nate Newton fell on top of that one. On second down, Aikman. Is it caught? Complete. It is indeed. Alvin Harper, forward progress. Should have him inside the 30 to about the 29. 7:46 and counting left in the game. Dallas on top, 21-13.
Well, Dallas is just inside field goal range now. Lynn Elliott has not been particularly effective. They're sitting third down. A field goal puts them, up where the Raiders would have to score 2 touchdowns to win. I'm sure they will again start looking at that clock. Offensive coordinators and head coaches say 7 minutes, boy. We want to run that clock down. Let's see what they do.
3rd and 7. Need to get to about the 21 for the first down. Aikman sacked by Anthony Smith.
He didn't have what he wanted. He got man coverage that time, and nobody was really opening. I think he did a nice job. He kept them in field goal range. The fact that he ran forward gives them a shot at a field goal, and a field goal is a huge play here.
So Lynn Elliott comes on, his longest of the season, a 51-yarder against Seattle. This will be a 48-yard attempt by Lynn Elliott. And it's no good. And you mentioned, John, he's had some difficulty as he misses that one. Johnson's Cowboys still on top, 21-13.
Of the National Football League is sponsored by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering. Payne Weber, we believe our most important investment is an investment in relationships. And by Pennzoil, America's #1 selling motor oil for performance, protection, and quality.
Stadium with the largest seating capacity in the NFL, and right now the Raiders need a little magic. We'll take a look at Magic Johnson. Raiders trail 21-13 with 6:27 left in the game, and a sack. Give the credit to Tony Casillas.
Tony Casillas came right down the middle. I think he was singled on Todd Pete that time and just beat him and came up the middle. Marcus Allen stayed in the block to try to get some extra help on Jeffcoat.
First sack of the game and of the season for Tony Casillas, a loss of 10 as you took a look at Marinovich limping there. Jay Schrader looks as if he may be getting set to come back in relief, as he did last week against Seattle. 2nd and 20 to Steve Smith. And Steve Smith takes it up to about the 28. Ken Norton on the stop.
The Raiders need to get the ball in the hands of their key football players. When you're down 8 points, Steve Smith is not the guy you want to get the ball to. Marcus Allen has to handle it. Tim Brown has to handle it. Willie Gault has to have it. They need somebody that gives them a chance to make a big play. But they're not going to make a big play unless they get a little better pass protection.
Marcus Allen is in now out of the pro set. Marinovich. Flag on the far side of the field, incomplete pass. And there is a flag on the far side of the field.
There is no play before the snap. Number 68, false start, 5 yards. It's still 3rd down.
And that's Bruce Wilkerson, left tackle out of Tennessee.
Well, that's a play that Dallas would like to decline. You don't have a choice because the infraction happens before the ball is put into play, so it's an automatic penalty. The two outside pass rushes, Haley and Jeffcoat, have just become dominant in this game. The Raiders are keeping extra. They're keeping Marcus Allen in to block, which takes a big part of the receiving core out of the game for them. They're really operating with 3 receivers down the field.
3rd and 17, and Haley is offsides by a mile. Free play for Marinovich, and broken up nicely that time. Give the credit to James Washington.
Well, there was a pass interference, clear pass interference down the field that didn't get called.
Fouls. Number 94 of the defense is offside. Number 68 of the offense is holding. The penalty is offset. Repeat, 3rd down.
And here's the penalty that you were talking about, John, that was not called.
I think, yeah, there are 3 penalties. This is a clear pass interference. I mean, you know, he's just knocks him out of the way so he can intercept. That's James Washington, and I think that should have been pass interference. The Raiders have been intimidated by this Dallas pass rush in the second half, and that surprises me a little bit, really. I thought it might be the other way around.
3rd and 17. Marinovich with all kinds of time. Complete to Marcus Allen, and Allen, no, he drops it. And he would have been at least 10 yards shy of the first down anyway. Time is of the essence. 4:50 left in the game here. Right now, let's swing you back to New York and Greg.
Well, James, the Eagles beat Phoenix today, helped by a great second quarter goal line stand. It is the 15th straight game the Eagles have held an opponent under 100 yards rushing. 7-3, Philadelphia the final. The Eagles travel to Dallas next Sunday, and it will be here on CBS. JB.
All right, Greg, and certainly the Cowboys know all about that visit. Cowboys are 10-0 at home and anxiously await the arrival of the Eagles. Jeff Gossett on the punt for the Raiders. Kelvin Martin from the 33. And Kmart pushed out of bounds at about the 44 by David Jones. It'll be Cowboys ball when we return. Hickman having fun today, as he did earlier this week, participating in a music video by the country group Shenandoah.
It's been a long time coming, but I guess I had it coming all along. Whoa, her leaving's been a long time coming.
Well, Aikman gets the girl in the video, and right now he's on his way to getting a victory. Nice stats, 208 yards passing. Cowboys on top with 4:40 left in the game. Smith, the ball carrier, and Emmitt Smith up near the 45, a gain of about 3 on the play. 4:32 and counting.
The thing that impresses me so much about the Dallas offense and the fact the Dallas team, they use their weapons very well. They're so well balanced offensively. When they give the ball to Emmitt Smith 20 times or more, as you pointed out, they are 20-0, I think, for that. And that means they're balanced. They are a balanced offensive attack. Norv Turner, the offensive coordinator, has just done a fabulous job of getting the best out of the weapons that they have. They play defense. I think their defense improves each week. The Raiders only have 56 yards in the entire second half, where Dallas has over 170, and that's been the story.
Emmitt Smith, 26 carries for 123 yards, and his career high in carries, 34. And I'm sure Emmitt Smith would love to get near that. He says, I guess, John, as is the case with most backs, most great backs anyway, they get better late in the game as they carry more.
Absolutely, and they get stronger, they get more confident, and they get a sense that they are dominating the game and that they can take the game over personally.
Raiders with 1 timeout remaining, Dallas with 3. 4:32 left in the game. 2nd and 7. On the ground again, Smith juking and gets maybe a yard on the play. And it looks like they may spot it for a no gain. Next Sunday here on CBS, it's doubleheader action, starting with a special post-Halloween edition of the NFL Today. Then in game 1, a lot of you folks will see the Buccaneers and Sam White's take on the New Orleans Saints or other regional action. Then down to Dallas, where the Dallas Cowboys will host the Philadelphia Eagles. Others will see the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Phoenix Cardinals. And all be coming your way next Sunday right here on CBS.
Well, as we said, that's a defensive lineman, and it looks like a Dallas Cowboy defensive lineman.
Nice hairdo there. Huh?
Yeah, and their defensive line was very impressive in this game, particularly in the second half. James, I think it's important that you and I disavow that picture of Terry Bradshaw and Gumbel and those guys. We didn't have anything to do with that.
At all.
If you guys are watching from back there.
Oh, rest assured they are. No doubt about that.
We confess somebody else did it, right?
Raiders are now out of timeouts with 4:26 left in the game. 3rd and 7 for the Cowboys from the 45. Aikman back to pass, complete to Novacek. First down. Jay Novacek run out of bounds at the 30 of Los Angeles. Ronnie Lott tried to deliver the big hit, but that's where the size of Novacek helped in that instance.
Well, it's a look at Ronnie Lott, one of the great players. I had the good fortune to have a chance to coach him. He has got the outrun, beats the linebacker. Ronnie Lott comes over and makes a big hit on him. Ronnie Lott, even in defeat, is still willing to play at his very best.
Now, I got to teach you. What was that guy's name again?
Novacek's going to have to change his name because I can't say it.
We'll just call him 84. That'll work for us.
That works for me.
On the ground again, Smith. A gain of maybe 3.
The Raiders have no timeouts and very little hope now. This will go to the 2-minute warning. I think it's a great win by Dallas. You know what impressed me the most about this game? It seemed when things were bleakest for Dallas in the 3rd quarter, the Raiders make a big punt return, go get a big touchdown pass. Both the fullback Johnston and the tailback Smith are hurt. They're coming out here. This stadium is alive. Dallas responded immediately. 2 big plays, puts them down inside the 20. Here come the 2 backs back. It was all Dallas from then on. That was a big, big thing for Dallas, and I'm sure big for their confidence.
Well, again, going back to your theme at the top, like any good boxer, they responded. Smith responding with a touchdown run. Emmitt Smith, 9th rushing touchdown of the season for Emmitt Smith. A 26-yard scamper by Emmitt Smith, and Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, applauds his effort. Elliott on for the point after, and Elliott boots the Cowboys out even further in front of the Los Angeles Raiders. Well, Jimmy Johnson was concerned that his team might be distracted coming in to the Coliseum. No way.
Well, here's a look at the last touchdown run. The Raiders are all locked up there man to man. Emmitt Smith is just going to come off tackle here, pops the line of scrimmage, and there's nobody in the secondary. Here you see the lane. The fullback blocks Ronnie Lott. The Dallas offensive line has just dominated the Raiders, and this is the final play. Here we get a look at ground level. Look at the number of blocks that are being sustained. People still on blocks. There's just nobody to pursue Emmitt Smith. He pops loose. You know, we talked earlier at the start of the day that the Raiders would have to come out and physically dominate the Cowboys, but it's been the other way around. It's been Dallas who has been physically dominant. That's a surprise. If anybody has any doubts about this Dallas football team, this game has put those things to rest. They have come out and played efficiently and played physically. That's what really impresses me. And there's a very happy young tailback who did a good day's work.
Interesting that he mentioned to us that he's not a great film watcher. He just likes to get out there and have a feel of the game.
Well, I think he has those pictures in his eyes. He's able to see things as they happen.
Alexander Wright across the 20 and dropped at about the 23. The Dallas Cowboys, as we promoted, will be hosting the Philadelphia Eagles next weekend at Irving at Texas Stadium, and the Cowboys are 10-0 at home in NFL best.
Well, they're going to be ready for Philadelphia. I mean, that's a big game. And the week after that, at Detroit, I think is a big game because Detroit defeated them convincingly in the playoffs. At the end of the season, they have 3 out of the last 4 on the road, and then Chicago. So those are 4 difficult games. But this is a club that looks like it has great poise, great work ethic, great coaching.
Jay Schrader into the contest for the Raiders. And Schrader gives himself up at about the 28. Schrader, of course, has the deep arm, the good arm to throw deep, with 3:03 and counting left in the game. Raiders again with no timeouts as Emmitt Smith looking for maybe some Dallas faithful, and there are a fair number of them here. Incomplete intended receiver was Ethan Horton.
Here's a look at Jimmy Johnson. Now, this man has done absolutely a fabulous job for this team. He came in, basically changed the entire organization, went out and got his own type of football players, has improved dramatically. They were 11-5 last year. Now the only thing that is ahead for them is a shot at the NFC Championship or perhaps the Super Bowl.
46 trades in 43 months for Jimmy Johnson. I'd say he was looking to change it. And Schrader nearly intercepted that time by Gant. Kenneth Gant was in front of Timmy Brown, the intended receiver. Well, going back to your point about Jimmy Johnson, he really paid you a compliment in indicating that you gave him the best advice that he ought to keep in mind coming in his first year.
Well, he came to practice, at Ram Camp one day and asked, what do you think about going to the league? What should a guy do? And the only 2 things I could think of to say is, A, hire the coaches that are going to be loyal to you. Bring guys from Miami if they're the guys you like, and make sure you have the power over the player personnel.
4th down for the Raiders. Schrader throws it short. And with 2:35, the Cowboys will take over in excellent condition and field position again. Ross Perot reveals the reason why he originally dropped out of the presidential race. He blames Republican dirty tricks. That's tonight on CBS. Then it's the CBS Sunday movie Women of Windsor, a new motion picture for television based on the true story of the glamorous, often tumultuous lives of Diana Spencer and Sarah Ferguson. That'll be coming up tonight on CBS. Today's game was produced by Bob Monsbach, directed by Larry Cavallina. NFL Today was produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. The Pumpkin was courtesy of Amy and Rob Greenbaum. And the senior producer is Ed Gorin. Many thanks to Gary Lynn, Steve Kleinfeld, and Sean Gerchikov. Well, this will carry us down probably to the 2-minute warning. Jerry Jones, just as active and involved as any excited owner.
These 2 franchises, the Raiders and the Cowboys, have done about as much in terms of willingness to take risks to try to improve their football team. Al Davis has long been known for a man to do anything really to try to improve his football team, and these guys certainly have learned from it.
There's Al Davis, second from the left, in the middle, I guess you may as well say. Only die-hard Raider fans left in the Coliseum now, and of course a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans. Cowboys on top 28-13 with 2 minutes left in the contest. And John, I have to mention, as I was giving credits for the folks who are involved in this game, I forgot to mention my workout partner, the AD for the game, Suzanne Smith. Can't do that. And there is the move called by one Ken Stabler, who quarterbacked here when the game moved. Miami trying to stay undefeated, nursing a 3-point lead over Indianapolis. San Diego, John, you said this is a squad you think will continue to get better as the season goes on.
Yes, I think they're going to be dangerous late in the season. They have outstanding defense, and they're starting to put the offense together.
And the Patriots hoping to come up with its first win, their first win of the season. first time the Raiders and Cowboys have ever met in a league game here in the Coliseum. And the Cowboys have looked awfully impressive as their record will improve to 6-1.
Well, this has been a big win for them. Again, you know, people wondered sometimes, could Dallas beat the physical football team, Philadelphia Raiders, those kinds of teams. And, boy, they have proven up to the match here today. I'm sure everybody in Dallas is looking forward to next Sunday. This football team is going to fly home enjoying this win, but I'm sure they'll start thinking Philadelphia pretty soon.
No question about it. As a matter of fact, Jimmy Johnson thought that maybe the Cowboys would think that a little too soon, and was not the case, at least by the performance on the field. And that should about do it. Jimmy Johnson improves his record against the AFC to 7-4. And John, the clock has stopped at 28 seconds. I guess, was that a fourth down on the part of the Cowboys?
It was, and the Raiders have got to score 2 touchdowns in the 28 seconds here, and a field goal, and they can get right back in it. But
that would be a miracle comeback.
There's one of the great men in this league, one of the great football players. I was fortunate enough to be an assistant with the Raiders years ago when Art Shell was playing, and a man I admired a lot then and still do.
An 89 inductee into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And Jay Schrader down on one knee, so that will, in fact, do it. Jimmy Johnson heads across the field to shake the hand of Art Shell. And best friends Irvin and Smith celebrating the Dallas Cowboy victory. Cowboys improved to 6-1, still solo atop the NFC East. And we'll be back with a closing thought after this.